Welcome to the inside world of bodybuilding. My name is Lily, an IFBB bikini athlete and coach. Over the next few weeks, we're diving deep into the world of competing, the discipline, the mindset, the sacrifices, and what it really takes to step on stage. Whether you're a competitor, thinking about prep, or simply curious about what it truly takes to compete, this series will give you the real, unfiltered perspective on what is required to go to that next level. Let's get into it. Hello guys, and welcome to the bodybuilding series. I am so excited to bring you through this little journey over this next month. Basically, you would have just heard from Tori in February, the skin series, and now it's my turn to take over on our mini series and diving into what I'm truly so passionate about, which is bodybuilding. And I have so many questions to go through. This first episode, I just wanted to do a solo ep about like my journey, what I've gone through, why I compete, and all the questions that you guys have to ask. And then the next few are going to be like with guests that you guys have asked me to bring on through their bodybuilding journey as well, and we can dive into that. So basically, let's get straight into it. And where did my journey start? Let's rewind it back even further. I was one of those kids who was like very active throughout school. I wish I had like a crazy transformation and did nothing, overweight, really poor relationship with food. Like I did go through a time where I struggled with food, but from a negative connotation, not like overeating in that aspect, but I was always a healthy kid. You know what I mean? There was no crazy transformation. Like my parents raised me in a way, we were a very healthy household, very active. So it just kind of was in my DNA that I was a healthy, active kid. So I did cheerleading growing up for many years. And then once that stopped, which was the year I started university, so 2017, I decided that was no longer for me. I kind of lost my passion in it and then started going to the gym. And at this time, I also used to run a lot as well, as I used to love athletics and kind of long distance running. Your girl is not a sprinter. I was definitely a long distance runner. And I dabbled in that a little bit, but nothing was like seriously lighting me up just as of yet. I was so competitive though. Like I needed to train for something. I just couldn't go to the gym for the fun of it. I was like, no, what's the purpose behind this? I don't want to train just to, well, this kind of sounds crazy, but like I don't want to train just to look good, even though bodybuilding is that way. I was like, I need a purpose behind my why. So anyways, I'd always been on the back of my mind knowing that I did want to compete, but I was so nervous to tell anyone to do so, because it's just, especially back then, telling your dad that you were getting up on stage pretty much butt naked, sticking your glutes out to the audience in stripper heels and a full face of makeup in a bedazzled bikini. I was like, how is this conversation even going to go? You know what I mean? So I was always very reserved whenever talking about it. I didn't tell anyone that was sort of my aspirations. And this is when I decided to become more consistent with the gym. I started my fitness account, which is like my Fit with Lily account now. And I decided to grow that and share my journey into getting through the gym, which was through the COVID time. Then I had a coach approach me at my gym in Melbourne, and he was a prep coach himself. And he was like, you have so much potential in like bodybuilding. I would love to coach you to be able to get to stage. I see how much you train, how consistent you are, how hard you train. Like I would love to give you something structured so then you actually can see yourself progress. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Like I never had a coach before in the gym anyway. So I kind of like went in, we did my random workout, searched on Instagram, and that is only going to take you so far. It's great for the beginning, but then over time, you probably hit that plateau and you actually need a coach who's going to give you a structured plan, meal plan, macros to take you to that next level. So he was like, that's what I'm going to do with you. And I was like, amazing. So from them, I don't know how long I was with this coach for. I was with him for a little bit, and he was really good at the time and exactly what I needed, but there's a few things that weren't aligning in a way of like, okay, I'm just going to put it out there. Like my ex didn't want me to be coached by the male, pretty much. I'm just going to say that, right? He didn't want me to sending check-in photos to him. And looking back now, like, ugh, it annoys me. But in the time, I was obviously wrapped up in things, and I was like, no, completely understand. I'm going to end coaching with him, and I'm going to get a female coach. Now, blessing in disguise, because my coach now is the most incredible person ever. Her name is Beck Cameron. But at the time, it's like, don't step away from a coach just because your boyfriend tells them to because they're insecure in themselves. That's all I'm going to say with that one. Anyways, transition coaches to Beck Cameron, and I've now been with her, is it Feb? Yeah, for 4 years. 4 years I have been with the exact same coach. She knows me inside and out. She knows how my body responds to things more than I honestly do, and trusting a coach is everything within the competing journey. So pretty much she took me under her wing in Feb. I went straight into an off season. I'm pretty sure this was in 2022, I believe. Yeah, 2022. We did probably an off season from Feb until roughly May, when I started prep for the season C end of the year. So literally just went full steam ahead as soon as I jumped on board with her. Now, from that moment, I seriously never looked back, because that was my very first season. I did ICN, NBA, and A&B in the space of 5 weeks. I did a show every weekend with 1 week gap in the middle. Now, to be fair, I probably shouldn't have done that many shows in my very first season. I just felt myself burning out in a way that, I'm pretty sure I got to my 3rd show and I was like, oh nah, I can't even be bothered getting my tan again, scrubbing it off. It's just a lot of money, but it was such a good experience, because I did I think I did A and B for my very, very first show. Then I did NBA, then I did ICN States, and then I did ICN Nationals. So I got to go through all of the natural federations, which really helped me decide what I suited best, because every federation wants something different. So I think I did pretty well in A and B. I got a few firsts and seconds. In NBA, I think I did very similar. And then for ICN, I got literally in bikini, nothing. I didn't even get top 5. I placed and actually got first in my open class for sports model, which was basically the shoes, the little shorts, and the little crop top. So they're looking for more of a muscular look. Now, they only do that division in the natural federations. They don't do an IFBB, which is what I do now. But at the time, I was doing both of them. So for NBA and A and B, I was way too small. But then for ICN, I fit that category perfectly. So it was very interesting, because at States, I obviously didn't even place in bikini. And I got first in my open class at ICN States. And I was like, okay, maybe I should do that for Nationals. But this is where you have to trust your coach, because Beck said, okay, trust me in this, saying for the national stage, I think you're going to do so much better doing bikini than sports. And I was like, but I didn't even place in bikini and I just won sports. And she's like, yes, I know. But the reason being is it's nationals. You have crazy girls who are I think it was just the lineup. She's putting you against those girls from Perth and Queensland and Sydney. I promise you, you're going to do better in bikini. And I was like, all right, I'm going to trust you. Let's peak for bikini the week later. And then I ended up winning ICN, my height class. I'm pretty sure they give out 3 pro cards in ICN. So every single height class. Won my height class, which is crazy because I didn't even place top 5 the week before, and went pro in my very first season with ICN. So ICN and IFBB are 2 completely different federations. I'm still an amateur in IFBB. I have not won my pro card yet, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't think I ever will. Not that I don't have any aspirations to, I think it would be incredible, but being a natural athlete, I think it is incredibly hard unless I do a lot more natural federations, which I'm going to get into a little bit later. But that was kind of my journey. And then I basically went into another off season, and I had a 1.5 years off between stage. So essentially I had a year in my off season, 6 months prep, then I competed again. And then that's when I did my very first IFBB season. Now, the difference between my very first season is I was competing against completely natural athletes. Then IFBB, you're allowed to be on performance enhancing drugs. It's a non-tested federation. However, for myself, I am completely natural. I don't take anything at all. So I'm not going to say a disadvantage, because I think there is a misconception in the industry that if you take these, let's say, call them drugs or steroids or whatever you want to call them, there's so many different names for them, that they're automatically going to be better than you. They're automatically going to be bigger than you. It does not mean that at all, because hard work is everything. Because if you take them and you don't work hard, game over. You're just going to gain unnecessary body fat. It's not actually going to work in your favor. I can actually work against you. Also, some people's levels are so low and mine might naturally be a little bit higher. So them taking them actually just matches me, right? So I think there is a big misconception around them that just because you take them automatically means you're going to be better than someone else. It's completely and so far from the truth. So that's just something I got in my brain from get-go, because it was so important for me to not get in my own head and be like, oh, well, I'm going to lose because I'm not on them. No, I needed to prove to myself that I could still be competitive. And that is exactly what I did. So my very first season in IFBB, I took a proper off season, now understanding the industry and how everything works, how to properly track my food, because guys, the difference in my first season to my second season, my carb up, which there is nothing wrong with this technically, but I definitely wouldn't do it for IFBB. I was having like Wheat Bix and I was having pasta the day before comp. Full pasta with pasta sauce and all of those things. No, you would never catch me dead doing that now in my peak week. Like, it was just because I was like, oh, high carbs, I need to have all of those. Keep it consistent, please. Keep it consistent. Like, I had not had pasta my whole prep, and then all of a sudden I get a high carb day the day before I compete. I'm like, pasta. Obviously, my body responded well, and I'm very lucky. My body doesn't really react negatively to many things at all, but would not recommend having pasta the day before comp. So there's that one. And then, what was I saying? So then I obviously went into my second season and had the proper off season. Then going into my first show for IFBB, I did not know what to expect, and I ended up doing really, really well, which honestly caught me by surprise. I was still 23 at the time, so I got to do under 23s, first timers, novice, and opens. I placed first in 2 of my divisions, and then I got first call outs in my open class. And then basically the exact same at nationals, except I got second in 23 and unders and first timers, and got first call outs and open. So I had a very, very successful first season. So that was 2024 season A. Then I basically had the exact same amount of time off in between that season and the one that I just recently did. I had a year and a half, right? So I did a year of off season and then 6 months in prep again. So this last prep, I put a lot more expectation on myself. I now knew the industry. I completely understood everything. And because I did really well, I was like, I need to do better and I want to do better. So I probably took my off season more seriously again and again, and I did gain a lot more body fat my last off season, and honestly it helped me grow the muscle that I needed. And we started with a 24-week prep and I entered states, and this was, I'm going to talk about the outcome first before I talk about the process, but the outcome of states, I ended up getting first in my open class. So basically with the different divisions in IFBB and all the other federations too, because I had already got first in novice and under 23s in my previous year, I could not do novice the next year. I could only do opens, and now I'm 25, so I could not do under 23s. So my only chance, I only had one time going on stage for opens, and the last time I did it, I got first call outs. I really wanted to place. That was my ultimate goal, was just now to place in opens, and that's what I did. I won state open class, which I was gobsmacked. Like, if you see the reaction of that video, I can't even explain. I was so surprised. I had a gut feeling that I was going to place because that was my goal and I really wanted to, but I did not think I was going to win. And then being in an overall lineup against girls that I look up to for many years was like beyond anything I could have imagined. So that was absolutely incredible. And then we had a back-to-back peak week, and my body didn't respond the way that we wanted it to. It just, like, I went really flat. It just wasn't the best outcome. I was chewing through all of the food and I just did not look my best. And that's what happens. And it's crazy how one physique can change from 1 week until the next week. And there was nothing we could have done. We have learned and adjusted for Japan. So that was basically like, I didn't do as well and I didn't get what I wanted. I got first call out still in nationals, but I didn't even place top 3. If I bought the exact same package from states till nationals, I think I actually would have done extremely well again. I definitely would have not won my pro card or anything. I actually don't even know if I would have placed in, like, come first in my open class, but I would have placed, because the 2 girls that I beat the previous week, they beat me this week and then someone else slotted in. So I didn't even place in nationals, and that's just the name of the game. Like, they basically, my feedback from states was bring the exact same thing. And I was like, that's really hard to do, peaking twice. Like, sometimes it would, like, you'd rather say get fuller or get leaner, because that means you have to either eat less or eat more, but they were like bringing the exact same thing. And I was like, okay, we can do our best. So it didn't work in my favor, is what it is. Then it was 8 weeks, which is a very long time, until I got to Japan, and it was my very first international competition, and it was something that I wanted to do for many years. It was a goal of mine, and I had no idea about expectations or anything like that at all, but I was just so excited to be over there and experience something different. Now, let me tell you, 8 weeks from nationals until Japan is an extremely long time when you've already done a 24-week prep. 24 weeks plus 8 weeks. I'm pretty sure it like end up being like a 32, 34 quick mass week prep overall. No, too long. I, hand on my heart, will say I will never do a prep that long in my life again. I did lose some muscle, I would probably say, especially being a natural athlete. It's really hard to hold on to that much muscle tissue throughout being in a deep deficit. But I'm so proud of the package that I ended up bringing. Now, I have not really posted videos or photos from the stage because the lighting, the like quality is not good that they had there. I don't know, the Japan, I look so washed out. The photos before I stepped on the stage, it's probably the best I've ever looked. On stage, I'm like, what happened to me? Everyone looked very similar. So I feel like that kind of gives my brain a little bit of a misconception that I didn't bring my best, but I know that I did just from looking at the photos before I went on stage. So I ended up missing first. My ultimate goal for Japan was to get first call outs, and I ended up getting like 6th place. So I got second call outs, but was like first in the second call out. So I was like this close. And if my glute and ham tie-ins was a little bit sharper, I definitely would have slid into that. But again, those girls were literally insane. As soon as I was backstage, I was like, yep, I do the outcome out of my control. These girls literally looked jacked, like wellness and physique girls. It was crazy. So that was an incredible show, and just something that I really always wanted to do. So I'm so glad that I took that off the bucket list. Now, going into the different seasons of prep is so interesting in terms of the way that you navigate it yourself. And the very first prep, I have had extremely different preps every time. My very first prep, I worked on the floor in Body Fit, so I was very active. I was in a relationship at the time that didn't serve me or like my happiness, and I wasn't fully supported in what I was doing around competing, right? So that's that. Then the second time I was single, so I felt like I had a lot more like zen in me. Like my business was like very easy, chill. I could like literally clock off at 4 p.m. I was reading books, like one book every single week. It was a very zen and chill prep. However, there was a lot more socializing because I was like kind of just moved to Queensland. I had a new friendship group. We're always going to Sunny Coast. So it was just more so like an organization aspect. My third prep, which was my most recent one, I obviously am in a relationship with like my loving partner, Cade, and he's competed before, which let me tell you, helps so incredibly much. Like he just understood it, and I felt so supported and loved the whole entire time. But we started and joined our businesses together, and that boomed, and I've never had to work so hard in my life on my business. So that was just so full on, extremely high stress, and I also had a lot of anxiety this past prep, and I don't know if it was because the prep was so long or because it was business or because it was just like everything at once. There was just a lot happening last year, and my mental health went down the drain, to be so honest with you. I was having panic attacks. I was crying every single day. Like my partner would be like, have you cried today? Like literally ask me every single day, have you cried? And if I hadn't, it was a great day. Or if I just had a little tears, it was okay. There was times where I was driving to the gym to go train and I was literally hyperventilating, and I had to pull into the street closest to me because I was so like I was having a full panic attack, and I had to get out of the car and sit on the side of the road, and then Kate had to come get me and like kind of like soothe me and then go home and just like get to the gym for the rest of the day. Now the best thing there, and I'm so proud of myself, no matter what and how I felt, I never missed a beat. I always showed up no matter what, but I think my body was under so much stress that prep. My last one, and you could definitely tell, like I just looked tired. My physique looked tired. I definitely bought my best at States 1000%. But from then, it just wasn't, I'm not going to say it wasn't as much of an enjoyable prep, and that's just what it is. So my next one, I said to my coach, I will not enter prep until I know that my stress levels are down. I have a hold of my anxiety. I am like in a very neutral state. Business is good. It's running. We have systems and operations. I'm not working from 4 a.m. to fucking 10 p.m. at night. Like I can do it smooth sailing. And she was like, yep, I think that's a great idea. So that's going to be my goal heading into the next prep. Now, all of them had so many lessons in them. I've learned things about myself, every single one. And that's the beauty of it, because no prep is the exact same at all. And yeah, it was honestly, the weirdest thing, like last prep, I had the most self-doubt, but I was the most successful and achieved all of my goals that I wanted to, but I was the least satisfied in how it turned out. So crazy, hey? I don't really know why my mindset is around that, but I always just like want so much from myself. So that's why I'm excited to prep again. And there has definitely been times reversing out where I'm like, I don't know if I want to prep again, and I don't know if it's going to be my time again because I have so much anxiety, or like not anxiety as such, but low self-confidence that I can bring a better version of myself. But I know that now coming more weeks and more weeks post-comp, I got my cycle back, I'm feeling good again, I'm getting stronger, my muscles coming back. I'm like, oh, I was being dramatic. I just still wasn't in a good headspace then. And now my love for the sport is coming back again. And I think that's such an important thing to kind of know if you are in the competing industry. It's not of a matter of like, okay, when I'm competing next, lock it in, let's go. It's like, how am I feeling? Because I knew that from my last prep, I was not ready to compete again until literally a month before starting prep. I will never go into a prep unless my whole heart is in it and I'm like, yep, let's lock in, I'm ready to push and I'm ready to go, or else you're not going to have an enjoyable prep at all. And you have to do it because you want to. If you're doing it because you think you have to, or someone's telling you to, or you've lined it up with your coach and that's what they told you to do, you are not going to have a good outcome. You're not going to enjoy the prep, and you have to enjoy the process. I said to you that my last prep was stressful. I had a lot more anxiety, but I still felt fulfilled. It was still something I wanted to do. And if at any point there was a part of me that was like, I don't want to do this anymore, I would have not done it. I would have stopped and I would have pulled myself out of it, because my mental health and my overall love for the sport and my health of my body is way more important than stepping up on that stage. So there's going to be times where you second guess if you are going to look good, or if you've improved your package, but second guessing yourself here and there is completely different to waking up and being miserable every single day. So that's just going to be my little reminder to you. Do not prep unless you feel 100,000% ready to go all in on yourself. So that was a little bit of a spill into like my journey in competing. When am I competing next, may you ask? Now, it's going to depend on a few factors. My ultimate goal, like if everything works perfectly, I would love to do the middle of the season, so season B natural show next year. Now, IFBB has brought out a middle of the season show, which is a natural NPC. So you are tested, but it's still under the IFBB banner. So that is what I would love to do. And that's going to be my ultimate goal. So essentially it'd be a little bit more of a longer off season. I've had a little bit more of a chill reverse. I'm just kind of maintaining and finding my love for myself again, the sport and business and life. And I think that's been so important for me because it was such a long prep. I just had to kind of take a little step back, find myself again, and then just like kind of set the foundations and set the roots before I go into that full off season and trying to bring my best for next year. So my ultimate goal, if everything is perfect, is season B 2027. But who knows? Because everything has to be good before I go, and it's just like a penciled in date. Now, why I compete is I love a challenge. I love being competitive. As soon as I start competing, I will be signing up for like triathlons. I think that that's going to be my next calling. I just have to train for something. I'm a very competitive person. I need a purpose behind my why almost. I love to prove myself wrong. I love to prove that I can do hard things and I can get through the hard days, and it's the most rewarding thing ever. And I'm truly so passionate about it. Like, to be honest with you, it's not the healthiest sport, but no sport is extremely healthy at an extreme level, right? You look at these Ironman athletes, and my hat goes off to them because I truly think that's way harder than prepping. But they're training for like 5 hours every single day, thrashing their bodies through that. That's not that healthy either. If you play AFL, they're getting pounded every single week. They're getting concussions, broken bones. Like, that's not healthy either. So I think that bodybuilding can be taken in a way that it's like, oh, well, that's not healthy. Well, no, there's a lot of sports that aren't healthy. If you're training for the Olympics, it's probably not healthy. Yes, I'm putting a lot of stress on my body for not having a cycle and things like that, which there was a question I'm going to dive into soon about it, because I do want to touch on the health reasons of like your cycles and things like that. So I do have a few questions that I want to run into, because I could literally talk about competing for days. So I want to kind of ask the specific questions that you guys have given me. The question that I got the most was actually the cost breakdown of competing, because it's a very expensive sport. So let's go through it. Number one, is obviously coaching, and that is going to depend on the price of your coach. Everyone has a completely different price. If you have a specific prep coach, or you just entered prep, majority of the time the price is going to increase. So my coaching rate when I'm in prep is a lot higher than I am in my off season, just because it requires more work. There's more touch points, there's more messaging, it's a lot more hands-on. So the price tends to increase when you're in prep. So there's the cost. Let's just kind of say on average is like $120 per week, or to $150, to be honest with you. That's kind of like the range that it tends to stick at. Then you have your bikini. So this is your comp bikini. Again, it can array from a completely different price from one spectrum to the other. You can hire your bikini, which is going to bring the price down quite significantly. That will cost only a few $100s, but my very first bikini I think was $550, and then my last bikini was $880 or $900. But you can hire them out, which I think, honestly, I have gotten my money back on my first bikini and more. I've actually made money on it because I've hired it out so much. My second bikini, I feel like I've almost like matched nearly because I've hired that out a lot too. So you can hire them out and get your money back. But I just love having my own, and especially knowing that like I'm going to call it like a seasoned competitor. Like I do a lot of shows. I like to have the option between doing one show, like wearing a bikini, and then another show, and I might hire one for one and then wear my old ones. And now I think I have 3. I have a dark blue, a light blue, and a red. The light blue is by far my favorite, and the judges also agree. And I do really want to try purple, like light purple. I hate red on me. I don't know why. That's my least favorite color. I hate green on me. Blue is definitely my go, but I'm like, what other colors are there? Like, everyone says, like, wear pink, but no, I don't want to be a Barbie on stage. I want to be fierce, not a Barbie. I feel like if you have brown hair, you can do pink and not look so Barbie. I don't know. I just not a fan of, like, the bright pink. I think the deep pink's really pretty. But anyways, you got your bikini, which can be quite expensive. Then you've got your tan. Tan is around $200 to $250. And then for nationals, it was $300 for my tan. Yeah. So if you're doing back-to-back shows, that can end up being like roughly $500, $550 if you're doing like states and nationals, right? So it's roughly $200 to $300 just for your tan, because you've got 3 tans. You've got like your 2 days before, your 1 day before, and touch-ups like on stage. So it's expensive. Then you've got your makeup. Makeup tends to be around $200. And if you want to get your hair done on the day, it ends up being like another $100. It can be up to $300 on the day if you're getting your hair and makeup done. I do my own hair because I like my hair dead straight. For my next season, I would love to try getting curls, but I don't think I'd get it done on I think I'd get my own hairdresser to do my curls on the day rather than like getting it done at the comp. But makeup and hair gets to be quite expensive too. Then you have your registration. This also adds up. Let me tell you that. So you have to get your NPC membership, which essentially you have to rebuy every single year. So no one's really competing season A and season C unless you're kind of doing those back-to-back shows, but you tend to have to get a new membership every single year, which I think is $150. Could be wrong, could be more. Then you have to register per division that you are doing. So if you, for my example, my very first season, I did like under 23s, novice, and opens. Every single division costs money for me to enter into. It can be from like, I think the very first division is the most. It could be $250. Then from there, it's another like $100 or $150 on top of that. So I know that, I don't know how, but I'm pretty sure I spent like $550 on like one, just like getting on stage. It's like $550 from like the NPC membership to then competing as well. Then you have photos on top of that. So they can go up to like, oh, it's really expensive in Australia. I think it's around like $200 for photos, and it could be $300 for a video. Again, could be wrong. I feel like I block everything out. I'm in such a depleted state that I just tap my card. I don't remember anything. But photos are extremely expensive in Australia, but worth it because they are way better than any other federation I've seen online, unless you go into the Olympia or something like that, or your pro shows. Okay, then you have your shoes. They're around $150. Then you have your posing lessons, which again is a minimum of $100 per posing lesson, and you're getting those every so often as well. So I don't know what that ends up being, but it's a fucking lot of money. So please do not compete if you're already stressed with the financial situation. People come to me and they're like, oh, I'm not sure if I can afford your coaching, but I really want to compete. I'm like, if you can't afford coaching, there's no way you can compete because it's so expensive. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, this one came up a few times as well, and it was the things that I wish I knew from my first prep. So what have I learned? And if anyone's listening and you're in prep for the very first time, what do you wish, or like what do I wish that I knew? Number one is that comparison is like literally the thief of joy. And this is very like surface level in a way of it's not going to change like the trajectory of your outcome, but I do think it can make the difference between enjoying your prep and not enjoying it. Your protocols are going to be so completely different to someone else's. Like I can't even explain how different my own clients that I've had competing, their protocols completely different. To be honest, I had two girls very similar and then another girl like worlds different. Then I've had like a girl that I used to compete with as well, like we were very close and her protocols were completely different to I. She was doing way more than I was. And then I've had like myself, my last season, I've had a friend who was doing less than I was and I was doing way more. Like do not compare yourself to someone because the results are so different per person. And if you focus so much on how someone looks on Instagram, you're just going to ruin your own enjoyment for the process. For example, my very second season, there was a girl I was competing up against. I knew she was in my height class. Guys, she was jacked. And she was posting photos on like social media. I was like, she's turning pro. She looks crazy. Oh my God, I'm losing. I ended up beating her because she was too big and too jacked and not bikini looking. So this is your reminder to do not compare someone else who you see on social media, because you can see these girls on socials too and they can look insane. They show up in their day, they've peaked wrong. Their tans like washed them out completely. Or they don't look the same because they're posing on like their, I know Instagram is like their perfect split second shot and they can't hold it and then they look different on stage. So please do not compare yourself to someone else. Another tip that I recommend is always have spare batteries in your house for your scales, your body weight scales and your food scales. Oh my God, the amount of times that my food scale would die and I was like, I can't weigh my food. Like I literally have to go to Coles before I weigh this chicken. Please always have spare batteries on you. It's going to be the biggest difference. Honestly, those are my two things. Just like don't stress, like relax. Like you have so much time. I know it's very like stressful and you think that every little thing is going to make a difference, and it is if you always muck up the little things, right? But if you like do everything right majority of the time, you're still going to have the exact same outcome. I always say, like, I'm not telling you guys to do this at all, but I'm just going to like give you a little bit of an insight. If you have like, let's say 5 weeks out, 5 Maltesers, it's not going to make a difference for you stepping on the stage. But what it will make a difference is your mindset and knowing that you didn't do everything that you knew you could do, right? That's the biggest difference. It's not actually the action of eating it and how your body responds. It's the mindset to knowing that you slipped up and you didn't do what you told yourself you would do. There's actually another question here saying, have I had any slip-ups ever post prep? No, yes, my very first season, I forgot to track, I think it was 100 calorie edamame or something. My first prep was so random. I was having like frozen dumplings at the very start because I was like, I think it was our anniversary or something. And I was like, we'll just do like a date night. And I just like scanned the back of like these frozen dumplings. There's no way in hell I would ever do that now. But there was like another day where I had like these edamame things and I forgot that I had them. And then I got to that night eating everything and I was like, oh my God, I forgot that I had them. And I didn't track it and I've already eaten it and there was 100 calories over. And I texted my coach, I was like, do you want me to take it out 100 calories the next day? And she was like, Lily, no, it's fine. Like, just be on it a little bit more next time and you'll be good to go. And I was like, okay, but that's the only thing that I have like slipped up. My other 2 seasons, not at all. I missed steps, I think twice my last prep, like this recent ones. I think I went 1,000 steps under one day and 500 steps under on another day, but then I made them up the next day. So that's probably the only thing that I've never gone a gram over or under. I've never missed a gym session. I've never missed cardio. And for 34 weeks, I pretty much hit my steps every single day. There was just 2 days where I was 1,000 under and 500 steps under. But I'm pretty sure the 1,000, I was extremely sick. I had, I don't know if I had gastro food poisoning. I had one of them. I think I was food poisoning. It was horrible. So that's why I got 1,000 steps under. And then the other one, I think I was like literally in bed and I checked my watch and I was like, oh, fuck, I didn't actually end up hitting my steps. So it was 500 and I knew that I ended up getting an extra 1,000 the next day. So that was the only thing in that whole time. But no, I've never slipped up on food or anything like that. When you are sick and can't hit your target macros, what do you recommend? Focusing on protein. I'm going to relate this question to competing. So like I said, I had food poisoning in between nationals and Japan, and I did not focus on hitting my macros. I only focused on hitting my calories, because I could not look at meat. I only hit carbs for that day, I'm pretty sure, because I could only have toast and rice and potatoes. Like, no way could I look at veg or mince or anything like that. It's just a matter of doing what you can do. Like, then there was another time I had the flu and I still hit everything because I'm in prep and I'm still going to do all of those things. So that's just something that I know that I was always like, you just hit, right? You're so in it, like so deep, and you just don't miss a beat. And I don't know, for me, it doesn't matter if I'm sick, I will still hit my nutrition. Obviously, food poisoning was a completely different situation, but having the flu or something like that, I push my cardio, I push my training, still pretty much hit my steps and still hit my food, because that consistency is so important. Okay, this question. Why do you keep competing if you lose your period from it? That's not healthy. No, it's not healthy. But like I said earlier, it's going, like, every sport has some unhealthy sides to it. The most important thing is focusing on getting your cycle back post-comp. I've already got it back. It's already consistent. I'm healthy again. My hormones are good. I would not be competing if I started a prep and I did not have my period. I would not be entering that prep unless you're on the pill or have the rod or have like PCOS and it's kind of like already on the irregular side. But if you know that your period is already gone due to health reasons, then there's no way I'd be entering a prep at all. My period has to be extremely consistent before I ever think about entering a prep, and it has to be back-to-back consistent for like an extended period of time. I'm not losing my period from the day I start prep, right? I lose it from when I get 56 kilos. As soon as I hit that and go under, that's when I lose my cycle. So I think it was roughly like 8 weeks out, I lost it, possibly, maybe a little bit less. And then it took 8 weeks to get back. So it's always my number one focus. My calories got pushed really high as soon as I finished comp to make sure that I was in a healthy position again to get my cycle back, and it's back. So you know what? It's a risk that I take, like anything in life, and I'm okay with that. So it's fine. And if I knew it wasn't, and I knew I wasn't fertile and all of those things, then I wouldn't do it, because a kids and a family is so important to me. Was your sleep affected in prep? I'm very lucky, because I know this happens to a lot. Like my friend Emma, game over. Her sleep is trash in prep. But mine actually is fine. I can struggle getting to sleep, I would say. It takes me a little bit longer, because in off season and now, like my head hits the pillow, I'm out like a light. But when I'm in prep, it takes me like 15 minutes to get to sleep. So like, no, I'm literally so fine, which is very lucky. But the thing that I did find is sleep affects your physique. I got a lot more like less sleep this past prep because I was just like a lot more work. I was up later. I was up earlier. So my sleep was like 6-7 hours, which I truly do think affects your physique so much. It also affects it in your off season, because when you sleep, your body releases a hormone called your growth hormone. And that essentially is like where you grow, right? That's where you grow your muscle, you bring a better package. And that's why I really want to put a much more emphasis on getting good quality sleep this prep, so I can maximize my ability to be able to grow muscle. I want to start so bad, but I don't think I have the commitment for it. Then don't start. Sorry. If you already say and you're already doubting yourself, then don't do it. You have to go into a prep knowing that you can do it. You can put your whole body and heart and passion and mind and desire and life into competing. Now, okay, you can have self-doubt. You can have times where you're going to say, this is going to be really hard. This is going to suck some days, but you have to know that no matter what, you can do it. If you already have second guesses in thinking that you can't commit to the process, then you're already telling yourself you can't commit to the process. You're already giving yourself an out for the time that you accidentally overeat one day or you miss a training session. You're already telling yourself that you're going to do that. So you're giving yourself that out. If you miss it, you're like, oh, well, I told myself I couldn't do it, so it's fine. Don't start until you know you can do it, and prove to yourself that you can. Start with a deficit. I always say to like my clients, I like to run them through a mini deficit before we go into a prep to see how they do respond to protocols, to see if they actually can be committed and consistent, because that is so important. If you can't do it in a mini deficit phase, then you can't do an extended period of a prep. So that's just going to be my little tip to you. Do a deficit to begin with, see how you go. You might actually surprise yourself, and if you do, then commit to the prep. What keeps you going when you're at an all-time low phase of your cut? The hard days don't last forever. Take it in 24-hour increments. Like, A hard day today does not mean a hard day tomorrow. If you wake up and be like, oh, yesterday sucked, today is going to suck too, game over. Take it in 24-hour blocks. You can have one really bad day, one really good day. You can have a really bad week and then 2 great weeks. You have to take it 24 hours at a time. Don't focus on the past, don't focus on the future. Be so present in prep and focus on everything you can do at that point in time. But that's what I always reminded myself. And secondly, is that the worse I feel, the better I look. I don't really recommend that in general life, but it is true. The worse you feel, you're probably going to wake up and you low the next day. There was times where we dropped my calves and I felt like shit and my weight went up and I was like, literally fuck my life. But a week later, I had a huge drop. So you just got to keep showing up and just proving to yourself that you can get through the days because they are absolutely worth it when it comes to show days. Okay, I'm going to go into the anonymous because I feel like I answered a lot of those just like when I was talking about, like when I opened up in the start of this podcast. So, all right, how to explain competing to your family. It's really hard at the start and I hid my scales in the pantry. I was very shy around talking it. I got very defensive when anyone asked me a question. I would literally say, no, don't ask me, like, oh, don't even worry about it. Like, just, like, I was so defensive and uptight, which made them be a bit more like nosy and wanting to know, like be open and educating them because the more they know, they're probably the less going to ask you. They have no idea about the industry. And I think it's so important to actually educate them. Like I'm pretty sure I sat my family down and like had to explain all the federations, all the divisions and everything as to like what is operating because they have no idea. It's like if my partner, I don't know, took me to the rugby. I'm an AFL girl. If he took me to the rugby, I'd have no idea. I would ask all of the questions and she'd probably be like, literally, Lily, shut the fuck up. But if he sat me down before and explained everything to me, I'd go into that with such a more open mind and asking better questions or not as many. And it's very similar with competing. Like you have to educate them and help them understand why you're doing it. If you say to them, I'm just doing it to be lean, you're in it for the wrong reasons and they're also not going to be on path with you. If you're saying this is my goal, I want to prove to myself that I can do something hard, I want to challenge myself, I'm so excited to be on this journey. If you're very excited for it, they're also going to be very excited for you. So I think education and just sitting them down is so important. This is a random question, but I'm going to answer it. In prep, did you ever eat basmati rice or did that worsen your digestion and cause bloating? What is an alternative? I'm struggling here. I had long grain rice. I'm not a basmati rice gal. I do not like the skinny little rice long things. No, I don't want those. I love long grain, thick, gluggy rice put in water. But fun fact, that rice that you have to cook on a pot is way higher in carbs and calories than microwave rice. Use the Woolworths or Coles long grain rice in the packets that you have to put in the microwave. Way less carbs. It's not as gluggy and I would love that, but it's way less carbs. I think like maybe 1 or 2 grams more fats, but I'd rather eat that. So that's a little tip for you. But no, my digestion is fine. I'm so sorry. I'm one of those girls that never gets bloated, never has poor digestion, isn't reactive to anything. Like obviously if I eat like shit for days on end, I'm gonna feel like shit, but sorry, I'm actually one of those gals. If you had binge eating clients, how would you tell them to stop? Or like, how would I help them? So it is a really tricky one. Number one, if it's been something that they've gone through like before, I always make sure that they will see a psychologist. I'll always outsource and be like, it's so important for you to go see someone because this is out of my scope. The most important thing I can do as a coach is just support them as much as possible. There's been times I've had clients on prep and I've had like, and it's very common in the industry, I think way more than you guys even know because I was so oblivious to it. I thought everyone on prep stuck to it to 100,000%. The more I'm in prep, the more I know that that's actually so far from the truth. I've had clients who haven't been completely adherent on prep. I've had friends of friends who haven't been completely adherent on prep, and it's to not shame yourself for it, but also to not make it okay. And I think that's the most important thing. There always has to be an underlying reason as to why. Find that reason. I will always jump on a call with a client. I will go through their why. I will be like, hey, what happened that day? What happened the previous days? Let's really get on top of it. Not make them feel guilty about it. Know that tomorrow is a new day and let's focus on that and moving forward. If it's a consistent pattern, pulling them out of prep, that's not happening, right? If it's like here and there, We're going to work through it, and we're going to know that we're doing everything we can to bring your best package physically and mentally as well. But it is a tough one, but I will always outsource first and then just support where I can secondly. Okay, currently in my first ever prep, and this week has been a heavy one to say the least. What are some things / advice that you lean towards in those times where you feel self-doubt, emotionally fatigued, and just feel pretty shit overall? When you're in prep, your hormones drop significantly in a way that like your happy hormones drop. So your head noise gets a lot stronger, and it's not in a good way. So I think the best thing that helped me was journaling. Like, I didn't do it very often, but if I was like really struggling, like I would do that. I would take videos of myself talking, and I just had to talk to friends and be a supportive environment. I had to get myself out of the bodybuilding environment. Like, I would walk and talk with a friend, not about bodybuilding, because I would get to those walks and I'd book in like a walk with a friend. And I would literally be like, I do not want to do this. I would cry on my way to the walk because I was just so fatigued and dead. And I was like, my social battery is gone. Like, I don't want to talk to anyone. The second I was there and 5 minutes into the walk, instantly so much better. So you have to get out and be in a different environment and not let your whole life revolve around prep, because it can feel that way. But you have to have little other pockets of happiness in your day that fulfill you in a way that bodybuilding doesn't, because it's so important, because bodybuilding isn't going to last forever. You need other things in your life that is going to lift you up. Other things is like talk to people, lean on people. Like, you have to let everything out, and it's hard because something I really struggled with is no one's forcing me to do a prep. I'm the one doing that. But then when I feel like I'm talking to other people doing it, or like other people who aren't in the sport, and they're like, well, just don't do it then if you're so unhappy. And I'm like, no, I just need to talk to you about how I feel. So it is a little bit of a tricky one, but just keep going back to your why. Know that the days do not last forever. And I can promise you, the most rewarding preps are always the hardest ones, because you get to the end and you're like, holy shit, I just did that. No way. I just got through those hardest days. And that's something that I constantly remind myself. If you're going to cry, let yourself cry. Let yourself have a shit day, but don't let it last more than 24 hours. Why do you like putting your body through a brutal prep? I like to prove to myself that I can do hard things. I think that's anyone who does the sport of bodybuilding. It's not in a way of like, I want to get lean, I want to look shredded 24/7. Like, I want to prove to myself that I can do something challenging, especially bodybuilding. It's not just a thing of like showing up to training. Oh, that was a hard training. Let's go out for dinner tonight. It's like, no. That's a hard training session. That's a hard cardio session. Let's go home, meal prep, eat lettuce, get steps, rinse, repeat the next day. Like, it's your whole entire life. And I think that's the crazy thing about competing. It's not just like a hard training session or a challenging comp day. It's like 24/7 all the time. And it's just the most rewarding thing at the end of the day. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. But I just love proving to myself that I can get better and I can be better. And to be honest, I'm pretty good at bodybuilding, right? Like, I'm horrible at sprinting. I can't swim very fast. I wasn't a very good gymnast. Like, I was a great cheerleader, but that time had been and gone. Like, I need something else that I'm good at and I can put my passion into, and I love being good at something, and I'm good at bodybuilding. So I'm going to run with that, right? How many days a week do you train, and how long is a typical session, and how were your macros in prep? So in off season, my calories build up to around 2,900. I've hit the 3,000s before, not very long. We just try to get there like the last minute. But 2,800, 2,900 is kind of like my sweet spot. That is where I'm like starting to gain like significant momentum in like my off season. I'm currently sitting at 2,700 and honestly like maintaining. We bumped up last week an extra 100 calories. So I was at 2.6, now I'm at 2.7, and I'm holding no cardio, 10,000 steps, 4 training sessions, 45 minutes each training session is my current protocols. And I had a question in here where it basically said, do you realize how shredded you still are and how pretty lean you are still months post-comp? It's not months. We're still only 9 weeks post-comp. And I know that sounds like a lot of time to people, but I was in a 33-week prep. I just can't switch my mind back and gain like fucking 10 kilos. I'm going to feel like shit. My body's going to hate itself. That's just putting on body fat, like straight body fat, not in a healthy way. It's not healthy to just gain 10 to 20 kilos post-comp at all. Even like 5 kilos 1 week after comp isn't healthy to gain. Like, it has to be a slow progression, exact same being in a prep and being in that deficit. It's a slow progression down, a slow progression building back up again. Yes, I've probably stayed a lot leaner than I probably needed to the past like 6 or so weeks, but that's how I reverse and then I go proper into my off season. It's what's going to work best for me. It might not work best for Sally over here, but guys, my calories aren't low. I'm not doing cardio. I'm not being in a way of like, I have to stay lean to, I don't know, get likes on Instagram or to feel my best and to be validated. It's not it at all. I'm eating a lot of freaking food. I'm going out to meals. I have non-perfect days. Like, to be honest, I'm like not tracking my calories to the T every single day at the moment. I had alcohol on the weekend. I didn't track at all on Saturday. Like, I'm so flexible in what I'm doing right now. It's not a disordered eating pattern at all. I'm putting on body fat. Like, my ultimate goal is to increase my body weight at the moment. We're doing that. I was on stage at like 51. Oh, I got my lowest was like 51.2 kilos. Then my got to 52 or something for like one of my shows. I'm now 56. So I've put on like roughly 5.5 kilos. Like, I'm sitting in a great spot right now. The next 2 kilos look very different on my body. So like, I find that again, 56, 57 is my sweet spot for my body. It's when like I go over that is when you can actually see a noticeably difference on my body. Exact same when I go under that, you can see that I'm a lot leaner. So I know that I am still lean, but I'm not shredded lean. And I think that's the biggest like misconception when it does come to reversing and competing, because when you're like prep lean, it's so unhealthy. It's not sustainable. I put on 4 kilos, 5 kilos. I'm still lean, but I'm like a lifestyle population, general population lean, right? Prep lean, lifestyle lean, different 2 versions of myself. Like, if someone like entered a deficit and they got to my version I am right now, they'd be like, oh, I achieved my deficit. I'm super happy. This is me reversing and coming up. So like I said, I can't just snap my fingers and get back to an off-season body. And it does take time, because if you just put on unhealthy body fat, it's not a good position. Also, I don't think people realize I'm like a small person. Like, I actually have a small frame on me. Like, I'm quite petite. My cousin is tiny. My mum is tiny. Like, I have a small frame. So like, I just like stay a little bit leaner for a little bit longer. But like I said, I'm on 2,700 calories per day. I'm not eating like a rabbit. My goal right now isn't to be the leanest version of myself. It is to put on body fat. Like, my scale weight wasn't moving. We bumped up my calories. It's now moving again. I've got my cycle back. I'm in a healthy position. And that's my ultimate goal post-comp, is to be flexible in a healthy position and just feeling good overall. And that's exactly where I am. Then eventually we'll move into that off-season part and push a lot harder. So I'm in my maintenance calories right now and kind of like maintaining and still like pushing, reversing up. Then we enter an off-season. Now, I do want to go into my off-season just quickly. My ultimate goal is to maintain a little bit more of a healthy body composition this off season. My last one, I got to 63.5 kilos. I would say the tipping point for me is 61. Those last 2 kilos, I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't happy. I felt sluggish. And I think that I pushed that a little bit too much. But I was being extremely flexible that last little bit. And I feel like I could tell. And it took a little bit more effort for me to get down. Like, I had to lose like over 10 kilos, 11, 12 kilos, and it just was a lot on my body. Whereas I think this time I want to kind of say that 60 kilo mark, which is an extra 4 kilos on me, then I'll lose like 8 kilos, right? I think that's going to be my sweet spot. But again, every prep is going to be so different, and every off season is going to be different. I think my calories are going to get a lot higher this time round and probably go over the 3,000 if I'm literally maintaining body composition on 2,700 at the moment. So it's just like, stay in your own lane. I'm extremely healthy. I'm good to go. I'm a very positive mindset. I know that I need to put on more body fat to gain more muscle. But right now, my ultimate goal was to recover my mental health and my physical health. And I'm in a very healthy position. And I feel great at the moment. So there's that. Anyways, moving on. Also, actually, one more thing with that. Just because other people have gained a significant amount of body fat post-comp doesn't mean that that's the healthy way to do it. Sometimes that's also the unhealthy way to do it. So do not compare 2 different people you see on social media, because it might have been healthy for them. They may have actually had to go into a recovery stage. I've had to go into a reverse stage. So there's just so many different ways that you can navigate and like a reverse period. Okay, there was like a few more questions that I wanted to, I forgot to tell you guys. That's what I was going in. I was talking about my off-season calories, talking about my prep calories, because I know that it is really interesting. My last season was the highest my protocols has ever been. I think in terms of cardio. So my very first show, I forgot what my lowest calories was. I know that I got down to around 1,400 calories, but my cardio was only 3 30-minute sessions per week, which is like hardly anything. That was the highest amount of cardio. So my food was like kind of low, but my cardio was also very low, and I got into the condition that I needed, and I was so fine. My second season, I had to drop food a little bit more, so I got around to like the 1,400 calories, but I think it was like maybe 50, 80 calories higher than what I currently have done. So I think it was like 1,480 and 1,380. It was like my training and rest days. My cardio was like 4 40-minute sessions per week maximum, I'm pretty sure it got to. Then this season, I had to get my calories, like I got them to like 1,300 and 1,400, so it was like very similar in a way, but like kind of the lower end of that number. But I started that a lot earlier, so I was on those calories for a lot longer, and my cardio ended up getting to 540 sessions per week. I fucking hate cardio. I would way rather do no food and like no cardio. I don't know why I hate cardio so much. I think it's just a time thing, but obviously still got it done. But those were my protocols. And then peaking into show, I go around like 2,600, 2,800 roughly is like my peak, my carb up, because my body can hold on to carbs quite well. And that's where it's so important to not compare your carb up to someone else's, because I've had clients who literally only need like 25 extra grams of carbs or 50 extra grams of carbs, and their body fills it out like that. They look great. For myself and for other clients, you have to push them way like hundreds of carbs more and hundreds of calories more to get them into that fullness look that we need. So if essentially you deplete your body of all of these carbs, then you eat them and it fills your carbs back, like your muscles back up with that glycogen and water retention, things like that. And that's what makes you get that like really pumped, plumped look as well. So those are kind of like my protocols in prep, and my steps got to 13,000 this prep, and last prep I only got to 12,000. Oh, that was like a lot of talking from me. I feel like that was everything that I really wanted to touch on overall. And I think they were all okay. This is actually my final wrap-up question. Do you have any body image issues during prep or post-comp or during peak off-season? My answer is going to be overall no, but it doesn't say that I don't have hard times. Honestly, my negative self-talk would be more prominent in prep than it is in an off-season. In an off-season, I'm very like yada, yada, yada with my body. I'm like, I have a goal, I have a purpose. I'm very detached from my body. And I think that's what bodybuilding is all about. You can't have your self-worth and validation through your body at all. And if you do, you're in it for the wrong reasons, 1,000%, because you need to go through an off season. You need to be able to be comfortable and happy with gaining body fat to grow enough muscle. It does not mean that it's going to be easy. It does not mean that you're going to be like, oh yeah, so cool to gain body fat. Like as females, it's hard and it can be challenging, and you're going to have those hard days. But overall, if you focus so much on your why you are doing it and the goal at the end of the tunnel, it's so much easier to be that positive mindset around it. If you do it slow as well, like I look back at my last off season, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gained way more than I thought I did. But at the time I felt really good. I was confident, happy, all those things, probably until like the last month, but I was like chilling. I was fine. So it's like, because when you do it in slow increments, you don't really matter. It's when you go from one extreme to the next, that's when you matter. Like that's when you notice. And that's why I take my first like 6 to 8 weeks a little bit slower coming out of comp, to get my body and my mind to a healthy position again. And then I'm like, cool, I can start putting on a bit more. In prep, the reason why I probably struggle a bit more is I never think that my muscles are big enough. I think that I'm lean 100%, but I don't think my muscles are big enough. That's probably what I have the most body dysmorphia with. So no, I actually never really struggle with body image at all. I'm very lucky, and that's why I feel like I do have a lot longer, like I guess longer jeopardy. What's the word? Like a longer term in competing, because I am very like detached from my body. I'm very happy to go into an off season and maintenance, a prep, all of those things. And I'm not saying that it's not hard, but overall, I'm in a very happy and great position throughout every single season of life, because they all serve a different purpose. In prep, you're obviously getting leaner to have that goal of being your best on stage. In an off season, you want to be able to be your best and like build the most muscle you can. But my goal there is flexibility. It's like having a social life, going out for dinner with my partner, being a lot more food freedom and not so strict and focused on everything I am doing. And I think it is so important. Like, they always say that you have to treat an off season like a prep to be successful, but I don't think that that's true at all. I think that you have to have the habits down pat. I think you have to have the foundations and the way of life, like still track your food, still train hard and still get your steps. But I think it's so important to have like a few days where you don't track, go on holidays, you don't go to the gym. Like you need that freedom in your life to then be able to have much more of a successful and long-term prep, to be happy with that, because you know that you haven't been in like a prep essentially for like the last 6 months in your off season because you're so diligent with it as well. Some people love to do that. For myself, that's not healthy and that's not sustainable for me in the long run. That was me talking about my journey with competing and everything that is involved with it. I'm so excited to bring you guys along on this mini series with the guests that I have coming up. So if there's anyone that, actually no, I would have pre-recorded everything. So I was going to say, any guests that you want me to interview, any questions you have, I was going to say, let me know, but I would have gone over everything already. So sorry about that. But I really hope that you liked it. If there was any other questions that you guys have for me, please DM me. My DMs are always open. I'm more than happy to answer absolutely everything, because the industry can be so overwhelming when you first step into it. There are so many questions, it's so confusing and so much to know. But at the end of the day, my very first prep, I had no fucking idea what I was doing. No idea. In comparison to my last one, still there's a little bit of things that I didn't know, but for the most part, I was way more over it. So I'm also a comp prep coach. I've had multiple prep clients. I have clients doing season A. So if you guys want to get coached by myself, let me know, send me a DM, we can jump on a call, we can go through everything there. Or we also offer just general life population coaching as well, whether that is like building muscle, fat loss phase, anything and everything. We absolutely help you there as well. We have a huge team under us, which is so exciting. We're all just in it and wanting everyone to be the best versions of themselves there. So send me a DM if you are wanting to be a part of our team, and we can absolutely do that with you. I'm going to stop rambling now. Like I said, I hope that you took a lot of value out of this episode, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.